Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, Islam. We are here for 30 minutes more or less. I am Sister Tahita S. Najil Lael of CalifaMedia.com, MercyCharities.org and com, RiseOfTheMoors.org and com, and CertifiedMoorish.org and com. Today is Tuesday Chamber Chats, where this is an initiative to get a Chamber of Commerce going, so entrepreneurial Moors can start engaging with one another so that we can get further faster by working with one another. All right, there's no gimmick. It's just trying to get Moors, active Moors getting with other active Moors. So like I said, of course I have my notes, because why? I respect your time. All right, so today we're going to be talking about living in contracts. I have a lot of experience in contracts, not just vicarious, not just but study, but actual applied and paid, employed experience. It's not like freelancing. I was actually employed. Oh, that was my chair. And I got some other stuff I'll get into. So, caveat. This is not the contracting instructions available on RV Bay Publications. Shout out to RV Bay Publications. All right. This is not this, right? Let me lift this back up. So this is called Living Within Contracts, and it's been brought to my attention that there is also a segment or a page on RV Bay Publications called Living Within Contracts. I'm gonna just stick to this. I've actually never seen this posting, right? So this is based on my anecdotal or actual experience and application. The title is just a coincidence and should not be taken as a usurpation or a replacement. All right. I just looked it up today because I'll tell you where the idea for this came from. But I don't want to get it confused that I'm trying to replace somebody's stuff or one up somebody, or I'm taking their stuff. Oops, it's a oops, right? It's a oops, baby. It's like, well, you have to, in order to live within this paradigm, we're under the auspices of Saturn. So you got to live within certain bounds, and those bounds, if you want to move correctly, should be written out and agreed to. That's called a contract. All right. So living within contract. All right. But shout out to RV Bay because they got the same thing. All right. So that's that. So weekly announcements before I get into that. All right. Legal digestion service coming soon. Legal digestion, as in I have quite a interesting background as far as education goes, and one of my areas of education was paralegal studies and legal studies, right? Master's legal studies, because I like taking other people's classes. It's like, you go ahead and take the financial aid, I'll take the knowledge. I wonder which one will get, which one will last longer, that kind of thing. So I will definitely do your homework. But anyway, so I have some stuff going on, right, where I'm getting ready to sue these fools. Sue their socks off. That's my hashtag. Hashtag sue their socks off. I'm taking care of my own stuff. And I'm like, yup, watch. I know how my stuff operates. So I know I'm on the right track if it shows up at least 2 more times in addition to the thing that I'm initiating. And of course, it showed up 2 more times. So in that respect, since I'm already going to be in LexisNexis, if any more need a study buddy, I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. Moors know what I'm doing. Okay? If you're even halfway, you've got half a brain and you live in the United States, you know what I'm doing. I'm your study buddy. You probably already looked it up. You know you have a case, and I'm going to help you make sure you have a case, and that when you go and present it and share it before the courts, you are able to defend it. That won't happen if I do it for you. So I'm your study buddy. So, but I have a background in legal studies and writing up stuff, and I've done it with great success, right? So if you need some assistance with something that's going on that needs to be addressed in the courts, hit me up. That's about to become available. It's called legal digestion. And I've actually looked it up. That's a thing, right? Because they think, the people who try to say that their membership to the Bar Association is a license. No, that's a membership, but I don't feel like fighting with you so I can get this done. So I'll call it legal digestion. I'm just your study buddy, right? You do with this information what you choose, because I can't go to court for you, so you got to know what to do, right? So that's coming soon because that's been coming up, right? And if you think I'm talking about you when I mention this, I'm probably not, because it's been coming up. I said I'd look for at least 2 more times. It came up 5. So I'm probably not talking to you, but if you think it's you, it probably is. So a part of that legal digestion service that's coming soon, there will be an extra fee for expedition, all right? Because folks keep finding me when they got like 3 days left. And I got stuff going on too, right? So no problem. I'm not going to put my stuff aside. I'll just reschedule it, but you got to pay double. All right. For instance, yes, if you think I'm talking about you, I am talking about you because I'm using this as a for instance, but I'm not mad because thank you for helping me set this boundary. So this is not a criticism. This is just saying thank you. And this is what's going to be happening from now on. So if you contact me and you have less than 2 weeks for it to be addressed, that's double the price of everything that I'm going to be putting up. I don't know why Moors wait for the time to act to prepare. You knew you had this problem a year ago. Why did you wait 3 days before you got to say something to contact me? I don't think you found me 3 days ago. I really don't. You knew about me. Again, if you think this is you, it probably is, but I'm not talking about you. I'm thanking you for helping me to set this boundary, and this don't apply to you. All right, cool. So yeah, that's gonna be there. If you know you have a problem, I've been out here. How long have I had this thing? Since 2013. I've been telling Moors, hey, I got everything to become a paralegal. I just didn't go take the test, because if I took the test and passed, I can't help y'all. Right? But I got everything else. And then I went further with it and did self-study and actually applied it. Well, I helped other people apply it. So 2013, so it's 2025, right? So I've been doing this. No, 2013 is when I got the actual education, but I was doing it, actually doing it before then, which is why I got the education, right? So if you don't give me at least 2 weeks notice, because that's messed up, because you got to realize that people got lives too. Right? It's double the price. And my base pay starts at $50 an hour, which is a deal because I might increase it. In 2013, I looked up how much does a paralegal make an hour? 75. But this was in Chicago in 2013. I'm only saying 50, right? But anyway, and that starts with the educated ear intake, which is already on site. The rest of the stuff will be coming up. So you start with an educated ear to make sure I can even help you. And then we'll go from there. It's not like you got to start paying me right then and there. And everything will be on CalifaMedia.com and CertifiedMoorish.com. But mostly Califa Media, because I already got the store set up there. All right, so that takes care of that. 8 minutes in. Okay, so now we're going straight into the topic, because if you want to hear more is like that, how I have been like, yeah, I'm going to take that down. And I'm going to leave this down before it breaks. All right, I'll just leave that down. No big deal. So Moors have been appreciating my sharing of news that I come across and my commentary on said news. If you want to get in on that, that will be coming out after my presentations every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where I go into the news and the stuff that I think Moors might be interested in and giving my perspective right before Temple. So then if you go to Temple, you like, hey, Sheik, you hear about this? Maybe the Moors need to talk about this to see how we can exploit it. It's about time the last is first. So let's start exploiting everything else the way everything's been exploiting us, basically. So I can go ahead and get to this. So anyway, that's on Fridays if you want to hear news. This is the business part, right? Because I'm trying to collect industrious Moors. Maybe before I continue, thank you, Moors. I appreciate y'all being here. I will try to get to questions and answers at the end of this, right? So then I can scroll back through so I can focus on what I'm looking at, right? And then I'll scroll back through. If you have some questions, leave them in there. And if you want to hear the answers, you got to stay to the end. All right. So thank you for being here. Let's get into it. All right. So today's topic is living within contract. All right. Because in this day, again, I started with how we are under, I look at it metaphysically, we are under the auspices of Saturn. That's why everything is so hard. We're the only creatures on this planet who have to pay other creatures to live. Do squirrels have to pay anybody to be a squirrel? No. So this is crazy. And we're supposed to be the smartest creatures on the planet. So anyway, that's because we're traveling through this paradigm. I don't like it. I want to be a cow. I just want to eat veggies and leaves and just chill out and not cause anybody problems. No, I have to grind and produce and all that stuff because that's what this auspice of Saturn demands. And it's not going to end anytime soon because we just moved into the age of Aquarius ruled by Saturn. So anyway, hopefully it'll ease up. Right. But right now, Saturn, you know, the rings. I should have worn my Saturn earring. I usually wear those. Of course, I didn't wear it. The one day I didn't wear them. Saturn, I love that planet because that's the last planet that you are able to see with the naked eye. That is the boundary. Get it? Boundary. We're going to keep coming back to that because that's what a contract is. It's a setup of boundaries. Right. So Saturn sets bounds. So everybody knows how far to go. Okay, you can do everything that's agreed upon within those bounds, but as soon as you cross over those bounds, you begin to suffer, right? You don't know what's going to happen. That's the planets we can't see. So the expression of that on this planet is contracts, all right? I'm going to get into some mythology real quick, but my background, let me make sure I get into the mythology, right? My background real quick, why I have a little, say so in this matter, especially when it pertains to Moors. So, my background, I was raised Nation of Islam. Okay. My father worked a job and had his own business on the side because he had a real issue with the concept of his woman taking orders from somebody else all day, leaving strangers to raise his child, right? Or his children, because I have a twin sister, right? His 2 children. So he's like, nope, I'd rather have this good job at the post office in Chicago. Good job, right? And I will have an extra business because, we're both Leos. We both like to live well. I know who I'm dealing with. So I'll just work an extra job so you don't have to be, I don't have to, basically he was like, I knew this how it worked. I don't have to deal with what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for. I don't have to deal with the thought of my woman being bossed, right? You got a job, that's your boss. My woman being bossed around by another man. I'm in on why another Caucasian man, right? I'd rather work a job and have a business on a side hustle. So my father was like rarely home, but when he always had his nose in a book, hence my library and my publishing career, right? They got a divorce when she got her job. He's like, fine, bye. That's your husband now. He was out, right? So her job was contracting. I'm trying to keep it short. She got a job. So it's funny because I look at my chart and it's right there. Your Saturn represents father. Your moon represents mother. Mine are both in the 10th house ruled by Saturn, which was government. My father was a postman. He moved mail. He didn't like deliver it. He was the one loading on trucks. And my mother worked for GSA. GSA was or is Government Services Administration. Those are the people where, like, when the government needs office space, that's who the other government departments, that department has to talk to GSA. Okay, thanks for the office space. Now we need somebody to clean this and maintain it. They have to talk to GSA. GSA does all the government contracting. All right. So my mom got this job around, I don't know when she got it, but she started working for the government when I was 11. And I had to hear her coming home every night until I was 18 and got out of her home. Every night she came home complaining about what she had to do at work. Every single night for 7 years. And I couldn't get away from it because she was very loud. I'm very loud, if you can tell, right? So I absorbed how to process contracts on the federal level involuntarily, but I knew it. The FAR, Federal Acquisitions Regulations, that big old book, right? Oh, I liked reading this thing. I'm just like, oh my God, something's wrong, right? Whatever. It was like therapy. Let me read this book because the manual you brought home complaining about your job, so I could probably try to distract myself, by reading this book. So I just read because I love to read. I'm like, I'll read this thing. So I went to college. That's how I escaped her, her moaning about her job every night. I'm like, why don't you just quit, right? But I escaped through college and I went into education and history, right? If you are a young person and you're not sure what you want to do for your master's, the major you should take in undergrad to have access to any master's of your choice is education, because you've been taught how to teach, so you must know how to learn anything. So you can go into education and go into medicine. Well, maybe not, but definitely law, right? Maybe not engineering, but definitely like history, right? I got degrees in education and history. So I learned how to learn, I learned how to teach, and I learned how to find stuff, right? After I escaped my mom complaining about how to contract, right? In detail. So I'm thinking I'm going to be a teacher. No way. No child left behind. I'm not going to participate in that. I'm just going to sign up with an employment agency and just, I'll work with an employment agency wherever they put me until such time as I decide where I want to be, right? And my first gig was McKesson, right? I was there 2 weeks. You're supposed to be there about 3 months before they decide if they want you. I was there 2 weeks and they like, nah, we keeping you. And they made the mistake. I'm like, cool. What do you want me to do now? Well, we still got to work out the 3 months. We got to keep you here for 3 months based on our contract with your employment agency. We can't hire you before 3 months. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that this message may be spread widely to assist in our mission to normalize Moorish. But, if you can just sit on the phone and do inbound calls until then, goodbye. Which it worked out great because my next posting, the next job they gave me, so McKesson was in this building in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was in the sub, so there's a basement, sub-basement, and sub-basement. That's where McKesson was. My next assignment was on the 3rd floor of the very same building. This assignment, they told me, they just want you to do some data entry, but go ahead and just try it out. And it was a data entry job. And the lady's like, well, what's your experience? Well, I went to school for education and history, but I know a lot about contracting. The lady's like, what? What you know about contracting? Well, my mom was a federal contractor since I was 11, and I left home at 18 for college, and every single night she was coming home complaining about all the stuff she had to do as far as procurement and contracting. You're hired. We're going to go ahead and play out the 3 months. We're not going to test you out as a data administrator to see if you can do contracting. We're just going to make you a contract administrator and just wait out these 3 months so we can go ahead and hire you. Because I dropped that my mother worked for the government. I had no idea that meant something, but it did. It worked out great. So after listening to my mother for 7 years complaining, excuse my language, bitching and moaning about every single detail of everything she had to do to get people contracted to secure spaces in property, right? Property contracts. What other contract really matters in the United States of all places? Because what is it all about? Getting a hold of this land. So I got a job with them and worked with them for 4 years until they moved me out to Georgia, where I found out about the Moors and quit. Like, I am not giving this genius to y'all because y'all keep telling me how far I'm going to go in your corporation. Goodbye. I would rather put that effort toward my own nation because y'all giving me impressions that, because it was a Fortune 500 company, right? They had a culture. I'm like, I don't like, this is before I even knew I was black, so-called black, but thinking like something's wrong, right? So that's why it was really easy to take on with the Moors, or grasp on with the Moors. But I'm like, something ain't right. And they just kept telling me, you gonna go far, right? And then you have a culture, and you have like a banner. I'm like, y'all, this is feeling too much like a nation. Y'all like put your children second to make sure you're here to take care of this. I can't deal with this. And then you keep telling me how far I'm gonna go, and then the other one's over here talking about you ain't gonna be here too long. Bye, right? And it just so happened, it was so crazy. So my job, if you're from Augusta, Georgia, I was on Broad Street, right? The SunTrust building, okay? If you know where Shama's shop is, it's right across the street. It's like diagonal from the SunTrust building. And right across the street from that was the Moorish Science Temple. It was like Allah's like, okay, you good, get out. You got something else to do. To show how Moors how they supposed to be operating in contract, not theoretical, actual, and applied. Both on the corporate, private level and the public, federal level. All right, so now we can get into that. I'll actually give you some stuff, right? Take it and go, do what you will with it. So it's 21 minutes in. I'm gonna give y'all some basics just so you know how contracts work. So that if you ever to the Moors, dear Moors and Muslims, everything that you agree to with someone who is not a Moor or Muslim, you need to be getting it in a contract, a written contract. Okay, so I'm going to go through this real quick because I think I just covered a lot. And why I'm not going to get too deep into this. Oh, let me go into the mythology. I'm glad I wrote that down. So I love that I went into contracting because it comes in handy. Contracting goes way back. How far back? If you know the story of, who is that? Heru and Set, right? How was Set defeated? Okay, Set was Heru's uncle. Set was causing all kinds of havoc in the world after he killed Heru's father, Set's brother, okay? So Heru couldn't defeat him for whatever, it's a very involved story, right? He just couldn't defeat him on the physical plane. So he was like, you know what? I gotta take care of this. I'm gonna sue you because you have a divine contract not to be acting like this, and I'm about to yank your chain and make you comply with the terms of this contract. So it's a story where he took him before, was it 12? Of course it was 12 because how many people are in a jury? 12, if you're wondering where they got it from. So Heru sued Set and took him before the divine jury. I hope I'm getting this right. And he sued him. That's how he found, after all these battles in the heavens and the galaxies and all this stuff, you finally just sued this dude and that's how you won. So Moors might want to get on contracting because if we make people start putting stuff in writing and saying, you know what, I'm not going to go, if you wrong me, I'm not going to go up in there where he told me, where he said. I'm going to be like, here's the contract, judge. Because I'm about to help some Moors with that. It's like, here's the contract, right? It's messed up when you don't even have to look at the contract and you know somebody got a case. This is why you should contract, all right? Everything needs to be made a contract. So I'm 23 minutes in. I'm going to run through it real quick because I'm not going to go into it in detail because I've been running my mouth here. Of course I have. I might have to say this thing is going to be an hour or less instead of 30 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to cover some bullet points that I'm going to pass on to the minister. I don't want to call him a sheik. I don't think he's been appointed. I'm going to call him a minister because he's ministering to us. The minister at Moorish Hall of Learning, Brother Reggie L. You can access his site or his classes through certifiedmoorish.org/temple finder, right? So I'm going to cover the bullet points that he's going to cover in Friday Temple because he's actually going to go over and into detail for a couple of hours, right? More, or, it's scheduled for a couple of hours. It might not even cover that long. but he's going to cover it in depth, living in contracts based on RV-based teachings. And I'm just going to give you some bullet points that you might want to study up on if you're interested in attending his class this upcoming Friday for Temple. And that's at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time. All right. So the parts that I hope he covers. What makes a contract? Okay. As in the agreement that's enforceable by law. And that agreement should include offer, acceptance, consideration, and capacity/intent. Okay. Everyday examples include buying something online, right? You have to agree to something, right? That's a contract. And the people never read the terms, right? You might want to start being more careful with that, right? But they actually said that because of the way they write stuff online, that you have an out. Because you can make it, you can say that it wasn't made obvious because you made this thing 30 pages long. Why would you need to make it 30 pages long unless you were trying to scam me? Eloquence and brevity. All right. So next part, written versus verbal, like I just said, right? Verbal contracts, like a handshake or whatever. Good luck enforcing that in court. I still remember that class. I'm like reliving that part of my paralegal studies. It's like, why does that one stick out so much? Implied versus explicit. You can go ahead and try the implied. Well, we shook hands. He said, but you don't have no proof. Go ahead and hopefully you'll stumble across some proof. Or you can just start with the explicit, aka proof. Get it in writing. And if somebody doesn't want to write it down, don't do no contract. Don't do no deals with them. Why you don't want to write it down? You know what? You ain't even got to explain. Don't worry about it. And just walk away. Who said you got to explain yourself? Because they're not. Don't even worry about it. Enough said. Okay. So next part, protecting yourself, right? Don't sign blind. Read the dang contract. If they need your signature to bring this thing to life, if you don't like that term or how they saying that, change it at initial. If they don't want to, treat it like somebody who doesn't want to sign a contract. What's the problem? What's the problem? Are you trying to scam me? Don't worry about answering. And you can let them beg. Go ahead and let them beg, but that begging better be accompanied with some like tangible apology, right? Like, okay, this thing was $15,000. I need a contract. I don't know about that. Goodbye. Okay. Now it's 13. Or goodbye again forever. You can get 13 now or nothing. And hope you hope some sucker. You kind of countered me. Might have countered me again. Are you sure? Because the next person might say 10, not 12. That's how, you bring it to life, especially if you're a Moor, right? Muslims to an extent, but definitely Moors, all right? So, yeah, that's that. And 28 minutes in, that gives me a couple of minutes to look through and look for questions. I'm giving y'all a chance to put down if you got some questions so I can go through and answer them right now. Otherwise, you can always email me if you have a question like, okay, what do you want to hear about next week, next Tuesday? Because I'll be here next Tuesday at the same time. You can email that to certified@califamedia.com, CALIFA media.com. Or you can go to califamedia.com, contact us, or certifiedmoorish.org, contact us. Just contact me and let me know. So I'm going to go through these real quick to see if anybody left anything, got a question. Appreciate y'all. Dang, a lot of people came through. I guess, what's this? Who is this? TikTok the spy. I've been sleeping. I admit, I have been sleeping. It's like everybody's over here. All right, thank you all, Morris. I appreciate y'all. Let me see if we can go through. Y'all got some questions. Let me see. I'm away to folks looking for questions. And again, if you got questions for next week, I'm doing my best. If nothing comes up, Allah willing, right? Because I'm not testing fate type of thing. I'm to the age where I know better than to say what I'm definitely going to do. But if you have any questions, just email them again to certified@califamedia.com or go on califamedia.com or Certified Moorish and just go to contact us. Looking for questions. Okay, I reached the bottom on Instagram and I will see what's this? Blood of Zeus on Netflix. Okay, this is from Wandering Messenger 7 on Instagram. Blood of Zeus. I'm reading this cold, so if it's something messed up, I'm letting you know I'm reading it cold. Blood of Zeus on Netflix is a great animation. Oh, just one me. Telling a similar story of Heru and Set and his brother. Thank you, Wandering Messenger 7 on Instagram. Blood of Zeus on Netflix. I hope it's not like too messed up, because I'm probably about to sit my children down and make some popcorn and we're going to have an evening, because I'm always working. So let me spend some quality time with them, with something that I can actually sit still with. So thank you for that suggestion. Y'all heard it here. All right, that's it. Nothing on TikTok. That's cool. Just email me. You can message me wherever you're listening to this, right? Because I just realized it's another dumb moment. I don't like dumb moments, but I appreciate them for what they are, right? I'm getting ready to start putting out now hiring signs, because I need to get some stuff done. I'm realizing stuff is taking me so long because I'm trying to do everything myself. Even if I can, I shouldn't. I need to start delegating. Allah is being most gracious and generous with me as of late. I'm now coming into a situation where I'm actually able to afford to start hiring people. But in order for me to hire you, you need to be set up correctly. So it's like kind of sort of sideways apprenticeship thing. I'm going to put out some now hiring signs. And then in exchange for me setting you up so you don't get taxed, so you don't have to tell my business to the IRS. In exchange for that, right, you got to do some work for me, because I got to get some stuff done. Does that make sense? It's like, is this how, what is all Zaibatsus and all those things that they hate in Asia, the ones that got started? Like, look, I can't find nobody to work with. I'm just going to start making people to work with, because this is taking too long. So look, be on the lookout for that. All right. And with that last, spirited, like extreme, intense, over the top rant, my apologies if you were like blown away, but whatever. That's all I got. 32 minutes, 22 seconds. Islam Moore, thank you for attending. I will be back here again on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, right before the 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain Time class, going in depth into what we covered here today, which was living within contracts. And with that, I'm done. Y'all be good, because I'm going to be great. Join me. All right, boys. Peace and love. Have a good one. Have a great one. All right. Peace. Bye, y'all. All right. That's what's up. Bye-bye. Y'all.